Berkshire and Occidental shareholder, I was encouraged to see your investment in the company, but with passing weeks, it became evident that your investment facilitated Occidental management's ability to avoid a shareholder vote on the Anadarko acquisition, a very shareholder-unfriendly outcome. This deal proved to be irresponsible and expensive from an Oxy perspective, and ultimately very value-destructive for Oxy shareholders. In my view, it also permanently hurt Berkshire's reputation in the marketplace. Please comment on this unfortunate outcome and tell me why Oxy shareholders and other market observers shouldn't feel this way.
Well, we said right from the beginning, although we didn't certainly expect the degree to of what's happened. We said essentially when you buy into an oil, a huge oil production company, how it works out is going to depend on the price of oil to a great extent. It's not going to be your geological home runs or super mistakes or anything like that. It is a investment that depends on the price of oil. And when oil goes to minus $37, it's happened the other day for I guess it was the May contract. That's off the chart. And if you own oil, you should only own oil if you expect these prices to go up significantly. I don't know whether they'll go up significantly or not. We're in the transaction. Our commitment was made on a Sunday when the management of Anadarko favored Chevron, and Chevron had a breakup fee of $1 billion, and Occidental people have been working on it for several years, and it was attractive at oil prices that then prevailed. And it doesn't work, obviously. It doesn't work at $20 a barrel. Certainly doesn't work at minus $37 a barrel, but it doesn't work at $20 a barrel. And everything the oil companies have been doing, whether it's Exxon or Occidental or anybody else, it doesn't work at these oil prices. That's why oil production is going to go down a lot in the next few years, because it does not pay to drill. Now, that's happened at other times in the past, but the situation is, you don't know where you're going to store the incremental barrel of oil, and oil demand is down dramatically, and for a while the Russians and the Saudis were trying to outdo each other in how much oil they could produce. And when you've got too much in storage, it doesn't work its way off that very fast. Now, you will have production of oil go down in the United States significantly. It does not pay to drill in all kinds of formations that it paid before, and it doesn't pay to have paid the price that oil was trading at in the ground a year or two ago. And to that extent, if you're an Oxy shareholder, or any shareholder in any oil producing company, you join me in having made a mistake so far in terms of where oil prices went, and who knows where they go in the future.
Let me follow up with this one then. This one comes in from Manish Bal, who says, is there a risk of permanent loss of capital in the oil equity investments?
Well, there certainly is. There's no question. If oil stays at these prices, there's going to be a lot of money, a whole lot of money, and it'll extend to bank loans, and it'll affect the banking industry to some degree. Not it doesn't destroy them or anything, but there's a lot of money that's been invested that was not invested based on a $17 or $20 or $25 price for WTI, West Texas Intermediate oil. And but you can do the same thing in copper. You can do the same thing in some of the things we manufacture. I mean, but with commodities, it's particularly dramatic. And, farmers have been getting lousy prices, but to some extent, the government subsidizes them. I'm all for it, actually. But if you're an oil producer, you take your chances on future prices, unless you want to sell a lot of futures forward. Oxy actually did sell 300,000 barrels a day of puts, in effect, that or they bought puts, and sold calls, in effect, to match it, and they were protected at $10 for a layer of $10 a barrel on 300,000 barrels a day. But you're really buying, when you buy oil, you're betting on oil prices over time and over a long time. And oil prices, there's risk, and the risk is being realized by oil producers as we speak. There will be, if these prices prevail, there will be a lot of bad loans and energy loans, or bad debts in energy loans. And if there are bad debts in energy loans, you can imagine what happens to the equity holders. So yes, there's risk.
Comes from one that just came in based on the comments that you were actually saying. This is a question that comes from William Lewis. He said, please, did I understand correctly, Mr. Buffett, to say that Berkshire Hathaway sold its interests in 4 different airlines? And if so, can you name them? Can the names of those airlines be identified?
Yeah, I wouldn't normally talk about it, but I think it requires an explanation, and it requires an explanation that means we were not disappointed at all in the businesses that they were being run and the management, but we did come to a different opinion on it. And they're the 4 largest U.S. airlines. It's American Airlines and Delta Airlines and Southwest Airlines and United Continental. And I think collectively they probably are at least 80% of the revenue passenger miles in the that is flown in the United States, and they have significant international flying too, excluding Southwest. So we like those airlines. But we don't. I like the world has changed for the airlines, and I don't know how it's changed, and I hope it corrects itself in a reasonably prompt way. I don't know whether the Americans will now change their habits or will change their habits because of an extended period if it happens that we're semi-shut down in the economy. I don't know whether the trends toward what people have been doing by phone. I mean, it's been 7 weeks since I've had a haircut. Been 7 weeks more than 7 weeks since I put on a tie or anything. Just a question of which sweatsuit I wear. So who knows how we come out of this, but I think that there's certain industries, and unfortunately I think that the airline industry, among others, that are really hurt by a forced, in fact, shut down by events that are far beyond their control. Greg, would you like to add anything to that?
Really nothing to add, Warren.
Okay. Well, we got another Charlie here.
I didn't intend to use that as a line, but you've covered it well.
Yeah, we would have bought other airlines too, incidentally, but those were the 4 big ones, and those ones we could put some money into, and we put whatever it was, 7 or 8 billion into it, and we did not take out anything like 7 or 8 billion, and that was my mistake. But it's always a problem if there are things on the lower levels of probabilities that happen sometimes, and it happened to the airlines, and I'm the one who made the decision.
But Warren, just to clarify on his question, he asked, did you sell your whole stake in all 4 of those
the
companies?
answer is yes. Yeah, when we sell something, we sell something, very often it's going to be our entire stake. I mean, we don't trim positions or that's just not the way we approach it any more than if we buy 100% of a business, we're going to sell it down to 90% or 80%. I mean, if we like a business, we're going to buy as much of it as we can and keep it as long as we can. But when we change our mind,
All right, the next question.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. When you change your mind?
Well, when we change our mind, we don't take half measures or anything of the sort. So I was amazed at how, frankly, now we were selling them at far lower prices than we paid, but I was amazed at the volume. The airlines always trade in large volume relatively, but we have sold the entire positions.
Comes from Eric Lafont, and it's directed to Greg. He asks, how is Precision Castparts handling the severe slowdown in the aerospace industry?
So very consistent with everything we've just discussed, which is obviously a large part of their business is the aerospace industry. And it can really be broken into 3 areas as we do in our queue, but 2 are being impacted. The defense contract business remains very sound and strong within Precision Castparts. But if you look at the large body aircraft, the aircraft that they use within the regional jets, that business will move directly with the demand there and the jets that are ordered longer term. So Precision Castparts is literally, as we speak, continuing to adjust their business relative to the demand that would come out of Boeing. They would be having weekly calls with Boeing, recognizing what are the production orders there and adjusting the business accordingly.
Yeah, Boeing raised $25 billion just a day or two ago, and they raised $14 billion before that, and a year ago they felt they were in a fine cash position, and I understand how all that happened. Airbus has had the same situation. They've made some comments recently within the last week. The fact that they really don't know what their future is, and I don't know what their future is. We're gonna have aircraft in this country. We're gonna be flying, but the real question is whether you need a lot of new planes or not, and when you're likely to need them, and it affects a lot of people, and it certainly affects Precision Cast Parts. It affects General Electric. It obviously affects Boeing, and it is a blow to essentially have your demand dry up, and it goes up in the chain, and the aircraft manufacturers didn't bring it on themselves. The airlines didn't bring it on themselves. Precision Cast Parts didn't bring it on themselves. General Electric didn't. It's basically that we shut off air travel in this country, and what that does to people's habits, how they behave in the future, it's just hard to evaluate. I don't know the answer, but we do know that it will have an effect on Precision Cast Parts, and how severe it will be, it depends on the same sort of variables that are hitting Boeing and you name the company in aircrafts, and aircraft's a big business. And this country's good at it, incidentally, too. I mean, if you think about Boeing, it is one hell of a company, and it's important. It's a huge exporter, and it affects a lot of jobs, and some of them are with us. And we hope for the best, and we wish everybody the best, obviously, and we wish ourselves the best in it. But part of it is certainly out of our control.
Right.